cruise missiles. So just look at the first point. Cruise missile is a guided missile used against a terrestrial target. Okay, and you see target has to be preset. So here when we talk from the perspective of this cruise missile is a guided missile. Like imagine as if you are a front player in the cricket. You are playing cricket and you are the front player. And now you want to throw the ball to make a run out. So then how will you throw? You will throw very targetedly, you will throw. And then what would be the path that the ball takes? Straight line, it goes and hits the wickets like that. So it hits. So in the similar fashion, cruise missile also will hit like that. That means it will have a straight line path. Whereas if we talk from the perspective of the cruise missile will have a ballistic missile will have a parabolic path. Whereas if we talk from cruise missile point, cruise missile will have a straight line path mostly. Okay, so how we are hitting the ball, so it goes and it hits the wickets like that. In the similar fashion, it will have. So here it would be entirely, it will be present in the Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so its journey would be entirely in the Earth's atmosphere and it will hit the target precisely and its accuracy would be very high. So think you are throwing from a ball from boundary line and you are throwing from a front fielder's position where there is more chance of hitting the wickets. So front fielder can hit very with accuracy. So in the similar fashion, cruise missile, as they take straight line path, so they will go and they will hit perfectly likewise. So from that path, from that point of view, just remember it is a guided missile. From that perspective, we will guide it throughout its journey. Okay, so next thing, it remains in the atmosphere throughout its flight. Now is it clear? So that is one thing. Then it flies major portion of its flight at an approximately constant speed. Remember, we are using straight line path and we will use it for short distance targets. When we are using for short distance targets, obviously its speed also should be constant and its accuracy also has to be high. So its speed also will be constant. So most of its journey will have constant speed. So that is another thing. So precision would be very high. Even if you are using for little longer distances also, the hit ratio will be very high. So precision will be high compared to ballistic missiles. So that is another important thing. Okay. So they are nothing but some of the important points with respect to these cruise missiles. Okay. Like in ballistic missiles, based on the range, we have classified them. Here also in the similar fashion, based on the speed of the missile. Here we are talking about speed, something we have talked. Okay, so based on the speed, we can have different types of cruise missiles. Okay, so based on that, we can have subsonic cruise missiles, supersonic cruise missiles, hypersonic cruise missiles. 3 types of missiles can be there. Okay, so here, what are subsonic cruise missiles? Sonar. Have you heard about the technology called sonar technology? So which kind of waves would be used in sonar technology? Yes, sound waves. Sonar means sound navigation and ranging. That is sonar technology. Have you heard about radar technology? What is radar? Below? Yes, radio waves and navigation, radio wave, navigation and ranging. Sonar and radar are the 2 technologies that we will use in defense. One is sonar. Sonar means sound waves. When we use sound waves, that is sonar technology. When we use radio waves, that is radar technology. Here we are using sonar. Sonar means related to sound waves. So can you see sonic? Sonic means it is related to sound. Okay. So subsonic means, usually if we talk from the perspective of sound, so there can be 3 types of things. So subsonic and supersonic and hypersonic. So missiles can be of 3 types. What is subsonic speed means? Usually we will try to measure the speed of the missiles in terms of in terms of the speed of sound. Speed of sound. So how we will measure the speed of sound? Do you know the units of speed of sound? Yes, it is nothing but Mach. So Mach, one Mach. So one Mach is the, usually we will measure, like for example, like we will say meters per second. Have you understand? Can you understand? Like for example, light year, it's a unit. Like kgs, it's a unit of measure. So likewise, speed of sound would be measured with respect to Mach. One Mach is equivalent to 343 meters per second. One Mach is equivalent to 343 meters per second. That would be the speed of sound. Okay. So in subsonic missiles or subsonic vehicles will have the speed less than one Mach. Less than one Mach. That means it travels with the speed less than the speed of the sound. So roughly it would be 0.8 Mach. Okay, Mach or Mach, what do you call it? So that would be the speed of subsonic missiles. Okay, so then that means it is less than one Mach. You can remember likewise. To be precise, it is 0.8 Mach. So for supersonic missiles, what is the speed? Means usually they will travel with 2 to 3 Mach. 2 to 3 Mach speed. That means supersonic missiles will travel with a speed 2 to 3 times faster than the sound speed of the sound. So 2 to 3 Mach speed. So that would be there. So here hypersonic missiles means usually they will travel with a speed of 5 to 6 Mach. Okay, that means greater than 5 Mach speed. So this is the range with respect to speed. We will have different types of things. If a vehicle is traveling with 2.5 Mach speed, then it is supersonic missile. If the vehicle is traveling with, the missile is traveling with 5.5 Mach, then obviously it is a hypersonic missile. So it refers to the speed of the sound compared to the speed of the sound. So 5 times the speed of the sound, likewise. Okay. So if you talk from the perspective of these subsonic missiles, so have you heard about Nirbhay? Nirbhay. Nirbhay is a subsonic cruise missile. Okay, so it is with respect to Navy. So Nirbhay subsonic cruise missile. So it is a type of subsonic missile. Okay, so then for supersonic missile, can you give any example? Huh? Very good, BrahMos. So BrahMos is a supersonic missile. So BrahMos. Okay, that means it travels with the speed of 2 to 3 Machs. Okay, then can you give any example of hypersonic missiles? Very good. So BrahMos 2. So it is under construction. So BrahMos 2. BrahMos 2. It is a hypersonic missile. Okay. So just now we also saw something with respect to the Ukraine-Russia war. Zircon. Zircon is a hypersonic missile. Okay. So then there are some missiles like Kinzhal missiles. So they are also hypersonic missiles. Okay. So likewise, we have some of the important types. Okay. So there, you just write some of the examples for subsonic missiles. So write some of the examples of subsonic missiles so you can remember. So there can be sometimes yes, Zircon is a Russian hypersonic missile. Kinzhal is a Russian hypersonic missile. Okay, so then just mention some of the examples under subsonic missiles. Okay, so one is Nirbhay. So this is from India. Okay, second one you mentioned Harpoon. Harpoon of USA. Harpoon of USA. So that is one thing. So then you mentioned like Exocet. Exocet. It is subsonic missile of France. Exocet, subsonic missile of France. Okay. Then we will have Tomahawk. Tomahawk of USC, Americas. It is Americas. Tomahawk. Okay, there are some examples. Okay, so nearby subsonic missile, harpoon subsonic missile, exocet subsonic missile, and Tomahawk, American Tomahawk subsonic missile. So these are some examples for this subsonic missile. Okay, so like this. So that is one thing. So these are types of cruise missiles based upon this speed. Okay, so can you able to remember these aspects? Okay, so now let's get back to where we were. So this we were discussing subsonic, supersonic as well as hypersonic. Now this was the things: 0.8 Mach, 2 to 3 Mach, and more than 5 Mach, greater than 5 Mach. So that means slower than the speed of the sound, travel faster than the speed of the sound, and they will travel at least 5 times the speed of the sound. So that would be the variation. Okay, so try to remember them. So then, as we were comparing, let's have a quick comparison of ballistic missiles and cruise missiles. So now it is propelled only for brief duration after its launch. Is it understood? Is it fine? So self-propelled till the end of the flight. So guided, it would be self-propelled. So that is one. So what type of engine it is used? We will use rocket engine. Can you able to recollect rocket engine? And it would be similar to jet engine. Can you able to remember jet engine? So that is one thing. So if we talk from ballistic missiles, so long range missiles will leave the Earth's atmosphere and re-enter into atmosphere. Okay, that if, for example, if the statement is that ballistic missile will always travel outside the atmosphere, is this statement right? Ballistic. So some portion of its journey will be there in atmosphere, and that too short range missiles will use within the atmosphere. They will travel within the atmosphere. That means not all the ballistic missiles and not always it is there within the atmosphere. Thing is that most of its journey of long range missiles and intercontinental ballistic missiles, they'll be there outside the atmosphere. So be sure with that thing. Whereas it is a categorical statement. You remember in cruise missiles, categorical statement means it's a fixed statement. Flight path is within its Earth's atmosphere, within the Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so it is always, it would be there within the atmosphere. Here it's a categorical statement, here it's a relative statement. Okay, so that is one thing. So with respect to precision, high precision for cruise missiles. With respect to precision, low precision, हो सकता है कि it may be distracted, it may be diverted. So precision is low. Okay, so compared to cruise missiles, so relatively we are saying that is one thing. And if we talk from the perspective of range, so like as we were discussing with respect to cricket player thing, like who can hit precisely, front fielder. So cruise missile will have short range. You see, like it would be usually below 500 kilometers. That would be the range. Whereas if you see ballistic missiles, intercontinental also would be there. So we can hit till lot of range. Okay, so greater than 5,500 kilometers. So we can have that one. So that is one thing. So range is very high. Range of the distance is small compared to ballistic missiles. So is this point clear? So then next thing. So if we talk from the perspective of payloads, payload. So here we have to guide the cruise missile throughout its journey, and we have to use the fuel throughout its journey, and we have to maintain the speed of it constantly. So for this, what will happen? Payload capacity, if it is limited, then only we can meet these standards. If payload capacity is high, that means the warhead it is carrying, it is so much weight, then we cannot assure that it will travel with the constant speed, it will hit with precise location. So sometimes it cannot be possible. So payload capacity would be limited or low, whereas for this it can lift heavy payloads. It can lift heavy payloads. Okay, because to some extent only we have to use the fuel, and to some extent only we have to guide. Later on it hits with the gravity. So additional advantage would be there in ballistic missiles. So that is one thing. So then can carry multiple payloads at a time and can multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles. So we can have multiple targets and multiple things like, can you able to see here? From here, it can hit multiple targets like this. So multiple payloads can be carried and they can be used. So that is one thing. So whereas here, it is usually carry single payload. Single thing would be carried so that to reach, to have preciseness. So then developed primarily to carry nuclear warheads. Nuclear warheads means warheads which carries the radioactive materials. Ballistic missiles are usually, we are using the word usually means generally, for carrying nuclear warheads. Whereas cruise missiles will carry conventional warheads. Conventional warheads means which will have chemical explosives. Okay, so chemical explosives. So that is one. So examples, like these are the examples of ballistic missiles, these are the examples of cruise missiles. So that is one. So this is with respect to types of missiles. Okay, and there are some types of missiles based upon from the site to their target. So we can launch a missile from surface to hit the target on the surface, Earth's surface. So then that is known as surface to surface missile. Okay, then we can also use some of the missiles to hit the moving objects in the air, like for example enemy aircraft if you want to hit. So then if you are using such kind of missiles, then they are known as surface to air missiles. Okay, so then air to air, for example one fighter jet and another fighter jet, if we want to hit one fighter jet or another fighter jet, we can have air to air missiles. Okay, then air to surface, from fighter jets, aircrafts, we can hit the targets in the Earth's surface. So air to surface missiles. Then surface to sea missile, that means think that you are present in a coastal area and you want to hit a naval target, like for example there is a submarine and you want to hit the submarine. So from surface means coastal area, so you can have that. So that is surface to sea missile. Is that clear? So in the similar fashion, anti-tank missiles. Anti-tank missiles means these are the missiles that are usually used to destroy the missile tanks of enemies. Okay, missile tank. Anti-satellite missiles would be there, anti-tank missiles would be there. Like if we try to destroy the enemy's missiles, so that kind of weapons would be known as anti means against that. So that is anti-tank missiles. So these are based on the launch mode, from where we are launching and what is our target, where is our target. Okay, so aerial based target, surface based target based on this. So this is one. And one student, someone was asking with respect to the fuel. Okay, so what would be the fuel we will use? Okay, so in last class also we were watching about something called propulsion system. Usually a propulsion system is required to give thrust to the rockets. Okay, if we are using solid fuel, then that is known as solid propulsion system, like the space technology. Like if you are using, like for example, usually ammonium powder would be used as solid fuel. Okay, then if we use liquid fuel, like let's say for example hydrocarbons like diesel, such kind of petrol, so such kind of hydrocarbon oriented fuels, then that becomes liquid propulsion system. If the fuel is liquid, that becomes liquid propulsion. Hybrid propulsion means we will use both, solid plus liquid, solid plus liquid. So that is hybrid propulsion system, where both type of fuels would be used. Okay, then ramjet fuel. So ramjet propulsion system. What is ramjet means? It is a kind of, first let's try to understand cryogenic, then let's move there. Cryogenic. In cryogenic, what we will do? We will use the gases at very low temperatures. Yesterday's in last class, have you understood cryogenic means? Very good. Exactly. One oxidizer would be there, one fuel would be there. So if you see cryogenic things, so cryogenic. So here we will have two things. Okay. So one oxidizer and one fuel would be there. Okay. So if we talk from cryogenic fuels, so there we have understood liquid oxygen plus liquid hydrogen. We have understood that. So here what happens, in order to burn this fuel, we require oxygen. Are you getting that? So for burning this fuel, oxygen would be utilized. So cryogenic engines are those engines which carries both the oxidizer and fuel along with it. Okay, that means both of them would be part and parcel of its design. So both would be there. So for burning this fuel, oxygen has to be utilized and that would be carried along with this. But thing is that they would be at extreme low temperatures. Okay, this is that thing. Can you able to recollect minus 183, minus 153? So that liquid at that stage, that these gases will get liquefied. So that is one. And here, what is ramjet? Ramjet means it is a kind of air breathing propulsion system. Okay, remember the word. Ramjet is a kind of air breathing. This is the key statement. Air breathing propulsion system. What is air breathing propulsion system? Means this will also be similar to this, but thing is that it won't carry the oxidizer with it. Okay, so fuel would be there. Okay, but oxidizer will not be there. Without oxygen, how it will burn the fuel? That means it uses the surrounding air. It uses the surrounding air to burn the fuel. Are you getting that? So in simple fashion to say, ramjet engine is a kind of air breathing propulsion system which uses the surrounding air to burn the fuel, and it won't carry oxidizer along with it. Is that clear? And if we have this ramjet engines, we can take the missiles to supersonic speeds. We can take the engines to supersonic speeds. Okay, so what is the advantage of ramjet? Means we can, from subsonic speeds to, we can take them to supersonic speeds. We can take them with that speed. So that is the efficiency. Okay, so then scramjet engine. Okay, so scramjet. So just clarify and have this finally, that if we have ramjet engines, we can take them only to subsonic speeds. So this is one. Okay, that means if we fit the engines with ramjet engines, then it works only at subsonic speeds and we cannot propel the aerial vehicle to supersonic speeds. So this is one thing. So that's where I was checking. So here, what is the difference between ramjet and scramjet? Means both are air breathing propulsion systems. So both will have fuel, but both will not have oxidizers. So here basic thing is that if we use ramjet engines, we can take them at subsonic speeds. If we take scramjet engines, we can operate the vehicles with supersonic speeds, supersonic airflow, so supersonic speeds. So that is one basic difference. Scram means supersonic ramjet. So that is the basic difference between this. Okay, so there we will have some sort of turbines and we will have fuel, and with this that functions. So simply remember that. So scramjet means supersonic speeds, ramjet means subsonic speeds. So there is the difference between these two. Okay, so that is one.